Get over here! I can't get in, it's too high!
Push yourself up.
Please get over here.
Alright.
No, you don't need to help me, just stand up and swim forward.
Tell Paul he's got to get back out there.
Hey, you stay inside. Huh? Hey, you stay inside. No, I didn't.
How long did that take? I could have hung onto that rope for a while.
You guys close your eyes. I gotta go to the bathroom. Hey, you girls close your eyes over there. Hey,
how about you don't go our direction?
Hey!
Bring the rope around.
Am I just gonna go over the boat?
Yeah? Jump in and go.
Here, watch out. Get that camera.
Jump in and go. Steve, it's right behind you!
Ready?
Yeah. Ready?
Yeah.
You want to go over there?
No. Renee.
What? Let's go over there.
Get her on. Turkey cheetah! What's going on?
We have to watch Mom wipe out.
Are you filming still?
Yeah. Move, guys.
We're not going to get it. Shut it off.
To take advantage of the great deals at the Dodge Big Summer Clearance, you're going to have to act fast. Because with low financing and $1,000 cash back, our supply of neons will quickly expire. With the very same deal on Stratus,
Marcus membrane for his eye.
Represents the heads of the gods. They worship this cup. This cup is made out of gold. The cup has heads of gods on it. The Incas worship this cup. Pots were usually made into human figures. Pots such as these were made out of clay. Pots usually held beer in them. The Incas were skillful weavers. From an early age, girls learned to weave. They used warm cloth to make blankets. The material was usually plain. The Incas' appearance was very important. When they would go out, they would dress in their best clothes. The Incas would buy vegetables when they would go out. The most favorite vegetable was corn. They used the corn to make a popular drink called beer. Hunting for food. Every once in a while, the government would organize a hunt, which 30,000 men and more would hunt. They would form a big circle many miles wide and move inwards, driving game forward, surrounding it. Bear, fox, deer, fish, and guanachos were the most commonly hunted. Llamas were very seldomly killed for meat. All of these animals were killed with a bow, sling, or club. The Incas were clever builders. Many of the huge blocks of stone they used for forts and palaces still stand today. The buildings of the Incas varied very much from region to region. The material they used depended on what they had to use. There was plenty of wood on the hot, damp slopes of the eastern Andes, but in the highlands on the coast, there was much mud brick, which they used in the dry coastal regions. This is the best preserved Inca wall, similar to the walls that surrounded the great fortress. At the time of the Spanish invasion, 6 million people lived in the Inca Empire. Looking at the modern map, the territory includes most of Peru, Bolivia, and extends north to the border of Ecuador and Colombia, and south to the Mayu River in Peru. Inca warriors often used these weapons to kill their prey and their enemies. Some of these weapons are 1 and 2, Inca slings. Number 3, slotted sling stones. Number 4, copper mace head. Number 5, mace with axe. This is the city of Cuzco. Cuzco was one of the biggest cities. It was also the capital of the Inca Empire. This is a model of an Inca temple. The temple was used for sacrifice to the gods, and for worship. The Inca social pyramid was very big. It had 7 layers. At the very bottom were fishermen, farmers, herding families, and conscripts. In the middle were the 4 apus. At the very top were the koi.
Okay.
This is the lost city of the Incas. None of the scientists know what happened to the city. It just kind of disappeared. Scientists cannot find out when the city was completed, who lived there. The city's name is unknown. The answers to these questions are buried in the myth. At planting and harvesting time, the whole village would turn out to share the work. Men and women and children all had their own tasks to perform. The farmers cultivated their fields with calluses, foot plows, like digging sticks with foot drifts at the lower end of the village. This shows buildings arranged around courtyards. They were built with stones, with roofs attached with yellow grass. Most of the buildings were single-story, although some had an attic story. They consisted of spacious apartments whose only access was through the courtyard, into which they opened. This painting shows what is left of some common roads. The Inca road system was a model of efficiency and engineering. The Incas sometimes sailed on boats. This kind of boat is made out of balsa wood. This boat was one of the many boats that they sailed on. These are headdresses. Some headdresses were worn by warriors. Others were worn by kings. And some were worn by ordinary people. They also use these headdresses for worship. The QP. The QP was a device used by the Incas. This was used to count. This is one of the great ceremonial vase. This vase is a warrior with a club. To prove that the Incas were so smart, this guy here is performing brain surgery. Here are some pictures that we thought were interesting, but we didn't put down.
And if you ever need to do a project on the Incas, here are the books that we used. You can get these books from Area 13.
At this time, it is my privilege to introduce Ron Clinton, the Senior Class President, who will introduce our speakers.
Welcome, and thank you for attending these commencement exercises recognizing the graduating class of 1996. This class has experienced disappointment, but yet in the same sense has vastly more. Through the last couple of years, we have gained the respect of teachers and administrators that we probably didn't have coming into the high school. And even through our freshman and sophomore years, I know we definitely didn't have. They say that's what high school is all about, growing up. And the class of 1996 will graduate with tremendous respect that we have earned. The class motto exemplifies our class very well. In growing, we have found friendship. In learning, we have shared knowledge. And in private, we have left memories. If you would focus your attention on the bouquets that sit up front. They have been donated by the families of two students who would have graduated with us, Melissa Michelson and Greg Obrecht. Their memories will be with us forever. Co-salutatorian of the graduating class of 1996, Rachel Ball, was unable to attend the ceremonies today because of the schooling she's receiving in France. I sent a letter in hopes of it being read. This is the letter. Dear class of 1996, hey everybody, what's going on? I hope this letter gets to you in time for graduation. As with many letters I've written this year, I've put it off until it's almost too late. Actually, I'm supposed to write a speech, you know, the typical make you laugh, make you cry, and above all, motivate you for the future. However, because those speeches usually consist of the memories of the last year of high school, I figured a letter might be more appropriate. According to the letters and clippings that I've received, it sounds like everyone has been managing to keep really busy this year. I'm sure the celebrations have lasted all year after the football team's victory at the Dome. In between the festivities, I'm also sure a lot of you tried to do as little homework, especially on those killer term papers from Miss Dawson. I've also seen a couple of pictures of the band in your new uniforms. Talk about high class. And the choir looks pretty sharp in your new robes, too. Although I didn't receive much information about the wrestling and basketball team, I know that you experienced the typical triumphs and agonies of winning a feud and losing a feud. I also know that the cheerleaders and moms were behind everyone, all the way. I realize that I've probably left out a lot, but my mom didn't send me every issue of the Harlem Tribune, just a few hundred clippings. I've been pretty occupied, too, this year. First of all, I mastered the art of smiling and nodding my head when I had no clue what was going on. And they say cheerleading doesn't help me out later on. I was able to visit England with my English class, and I even got a chance to travel around France with my friends. I also got to know my parents, not just my host parents who have different habits and pastimes, but also my own parents. It's amazing how much you learn to appreciate them once you've left home. I mean, little things like yelling at them when you have a bad day, or being able to ask for a little extra money to buy a pair of jeans that you can't live without. I've also learned a lot about myself. It's strange, but when you're always in the same environment with your friends and family, you get to know everything there's to know about them. In most cases, more than you want to know. But you haven't discovered yourself. When you go out on your own, you can find out so many things. Like whether you have self-discipline in schoolwork and jobs, if you're tolerant enough to be friends with people who have different backgrounds and ideas, and most importantly, you find out that you are capable of doing things you've never done before. I found that I could speak another language, but became completely baffled by scholarship applications, essays, asking good things I will do in my life. These are the types of things you will manage to discover about yourself. This is something that each of you must go your separate ways to accomplish. Graduation day is your last official day as a class together. After today, you must each choose your direction and proceed as an individual. Many people say that you've reached the end and that you will start off a new life in the real world next year. However, I feel that it's a continuation because now you've passed this test, but there is always another chapter in the study of life with another test after that. The difference is that the next chapters are about you, who you are, and what you are meant to be. Well, I'd love to write more, but I still have classes to study for until June 14th. I wish you all good luck with your self-discovery. I hope everyone is planning on coming back to Holland during vacation, so maybe I'll have a chance to see you before our 10-year class reunion. Yes, your bunch is Rachel. P.S. I found a poem by Maurice Kareem that seems to fit the occasion nicely. I hope my translation makes sense. To my friends, will I ever be able to say that which I really want to say? To tell my friends to what point I really am their friend? Without a doubt that seems so simple, to say the things that are so simple. But each time I know that I don't express it very well. And other words are necessary, words with much more moving than my words, words that flow like teardrops. When in the heart, the teardrops flow. What's the use of trying? What I've tried so many times to say is that I'm choked with joy to see my friends, to see you so joyful.
They graduated and they can't read.
And Steve Sheffield will be our speaker.
Somebody threw a speech right.
As a child, there were many fond memories that I remember while I was growing up with the Scheckinger family. I remember the many rainy days that my two sisters and I spent in the basement of our home. Most of these long hours were spent either watching Sesame Street or pretending to be somebody special. One of our favorite activities was pretending that it was graduation day. We would round up blankets and drape them over our bodies until they resembled our gown, and then we would take frisbees and tie them to our head to get our bed. This all seems kind of funny now, but I think it was our little way of acting grown up. We wanted to be adults and graduate from high school. Well, here we are today, going through with the real thing. The only differences are we get real caps and not frisbees. And instead of just wanting to be grown-ups, we are being forced to grow up. And becoming an adult is our only choice. After today's ceremony, each and every one of us will be moving down our own separate paths. In a way,